Welcome to Prepared Enough, a podcast for moms who want to lighten the mental load of motherhood and create homes where kids can thrive. I'm your host, Natasha Mila, former teacher, mom of four, and firm believer that a well-prepared home can do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. During each episode, we'll explore simple ways to design organized, intentional spaces and rhythms that build your child's responsibility and bring more ease into your day. So if you're ready to create a home that works with you and not against you, you're in the right place. Hit follow and let's get started. Hey, hi, hello, everybody. We are recording from outside today. It is 75 degrees today in Wisconsin, and it is mid-September. So this is unusually hot weather for our area, and I'm here for it. I'm just like, I can't, well, I'm like not here for it, and I'm here for it. I really kind of want our plants to die. I just don't really want to take care of them anymore. But I also am here for the sun and the beautiful, beautiful weather that it is. And so I refuse to be inside at the current moment during the snap hour, and I'm just going to be recording outside. And so I'm hoping that like the kids playing in the backyard and the children are squawking, but so are the chickens. The chickens squawking way in the back, and like hopefully I am in my backyard, so that I'm hoping that you can't hear the cars driving by on the front. But yeah, I got my iced coffee. I'm a hot coffee person, but in the summer I like iced coffee in the afternoon, and so like it feels like summer today. So I've got my iced coffee. I also am sorry for my scratchy kind of voice. I've got a little bit of a cold, because it's back to school time, right? So we're fighting it off pretty good, so it's not too bad. So today we are going to do a short and sweet episode on children's books. I am going to share with you how we rotate our books out at our house, how I store them when they're not in rotation, and some of my favorite picture books for back to school time, fall, autumn time, and Halloween. So let me start by saying that we have a lot of children's books, like a lot. I mean, it's not like so much, but it's way more than the average person, I'm sure. I was an elementary school teacher, so I have a lot from our class, like from what I purchased for read alouds, and I just love children's books, and I have since I was like a kid. My mom loved children's books, so we just like children's books in our family, so we always buy them, and it's fine. It's like if I was gonna hoard something, it's children's books, right? I'm gonna just really quickly side note that that's kind of a rant. I keep hearing from my daughters at school, that the computers are reading, like their smart boards are reading their books to them, which is so ridiculous. And even like little iPads are reading books to them and stuff. And I'm going to die on this hill fighting that we, as teachers, as parents, should be reading picture books with our kids. You guys have a lot to say on how to read children's books with our kids, what to know about children's books that helps you make it like more fun and engaging for your kids and for you as the adult. Do you know about dust covers, and when the cover and the dust cover are a little bit different, and what end papers are, and like all these little tiny bits about children's books that are really easy to know, but like most people don't really take them into consideration. Anyways, it makes the books like way more exciting. A lot to say about that. So I was thinking about making like a mini guide or like a video guide or something on it, but it's really just not super. I was going to do it for this episode, but I number one, ran out of time because I came up with the idea like last minute. But it's also just not really like super related to this space, since we kind of talk about like our spaces, like our physical spaces. But if you are interested in like hearing more about like how to read picture books with your children and like all these little tiny things about picture books, let me know, because I will maybe come up with something. It's just not super related to this. So that's why I was like, that seems weird. Like my audience is not going to be that interested in this. I don't know. Anyway, so let me know if you are. Okay, moving on to what you're actually here for, book rotation. I'm going to actually say this out loud. I hate rotation systems. We do not rotate any of our toys or like anything else in our house. Everything stays put the way it is, and I don't rotate anything else in. But we do. I used to rotate toys, and it was a pain in my butt. Like it was not worth my time. We do not rotate anything, but we do rotate our books. Why? Because we just have a lot of them, like I said, and like again, if I was gonna hoard an item, I do kind of hoard books, right? And also, like toys, when you have just too many books out, nobody really knows what's even on the shelves, and so they won't really read them. And they're almost worse than toys because just their little spines are showing, and if you have them on like a regular bookshelf, just the little spine is showing, and it's really hard for kids to remember like what book is what and what they want to pick out for the day if they're not looking at like the front of the cover. So yeah, they just don't get read a lot, or they just go for the same ones that they know because they remember what that spine looks like. They know they like it, and it is what it is. But also, because books are kind of going to be at risk for being more destroyed than toys. Paper rips easily, right? And dust covers fall off and get torn. And you just you don't always need to keep the dust covers, but I do find value in them, especially when like the cover underneath is different than the dust jacket. This is where like that learning can happen. So I do tape up any destroyed dust covers, and we save them all that we can, right? I've had 4 kids touching our books, and we have not lost a single dust cover due to like repeat. I think we only lost like 1 dust cover, actually. I think I'm remembering. It was like Where the Wild Things Are or something like that. We lost 1 dust cover due to like repeat ripping, but for the most part, we've saved all of the other ones. And I feel like we can train our kids well on how to treat books well with respect and stuff. They don't have to be perfect little angels to be able to like handle books with respect most of the time. So anyway, number 1, because too many books out, we kind of rotate, because if there's too many books out on the shelves, that means kids will just keep reading the same ones over and over due to decision overwhelm. And 2, books can be easily destroyed by small humans, right? So because of those 2 things, we rotate our books. And so here is how we rotate. Obviously, you'll have 2 spaces. Like, 1 is going to be where all of your quote-unquote extra books are stored, like anything that's not being read and out for your kids at the current moment. And then 2 is where your actual books for reading are being organized. So you're going to need to find a location for these that works in your house. I'd recommend finding a storage and a current reading place that are fairly close to each other. Books are really heavy and nobody really wants to carry them up like 2 flights of stairs. I know doing this every few months sounds easy enough, but I guarantee you that if you will like switch them out less if you have them far away in a totally separate location. I'm gonna guarantee that. There's no stake for me to guarantee that, so I'm just going to guarantee that with my words. I already have a hard time getting our holiday books out because we do have these in a separate location, which I'll tell you about later. But those are just like a single flight of stairs away, and I still like drag my feet on getting those books out. So the only reason I got like Halloween books out, honestly, is because I wanted to make this podcast episode. Otherwise, I probably would have waited until it was like a week before Halloween. So anyway, currently we have 2 small shelves of books out to read. So these are like right next to our quote unquote TV stand. I put those in like that word TV stand in air quotes. I also said quote unquote. Because our TV is hanging on a wall, so really this is just like an extra cabinet in our living room. It's underneath our TV though, so we're going to call it a TV stand. Inside our TV stand are all of our extra books. So our current out for reading books are like directly next to our extra books. They're just like on the shelves right next to our TV stand. So at some point down the road, my husband does plan to build a fireplace in this location and our storage will go away. So we'll have to come up with like a new system for this space. I'm hoping that then I'll just use a closet on our main level to store extra books. We will see. Or we'll finally get rid of the TV in our bedroom that we only use once a year and put like storage in there. We'll see. Anyway, projects are so fun. Kidding. Okay, but I should note that like before we had this TV stand shelf system set up, we did have just 1 larger bookshelf. So I would keep the rotation quote unquote extra books up high on the shelf where the kids could not reach, and I'd maybe like separate them with some decor like basket storage in the middle of the shelves so that like the kids would know above those baskets are books that are not for us right now, and down here are all of the books that we have access to for reading right now. So they would just like have access to like the bottom 2 shelves full of books, and we'd also keep some toys in that same area. So anyway, whatever. Right now, this is what's working for us, this like TV stand, and then we have like 2 cubby shelves full of books that we read. And I'll post a picture of our setup in the show notes post so that you can kind of see that. So we have 1 shelf of books that I do not I actually do not rotate. So those are all of our nonfiction books right now. And I'm like, I feel like when I come on this podcast, it's important for me to like note my own errors, right? Because we're all human and we're always like constantly readjusting our systems and like how we organize our homes and stuff and what works for us at the current time. And so I am gonna note my error here. All of our nonfiction books we do not rotate, and I will say that our kids do not usually pick nonfiction to read, and I think it's my fault. So I left these books out in hopes of encouraging more reading, but I actually think it backfired because now they just don't care about them even more because they're just out all the time. So I'm going to try to solve this problem because I don't want to necessarily just blame it on the fact that they're just out all the time. I might try to solve this problem by choosing nonfiction books more often for our read alouds. This is, again, partially my fault because when I'm the one that's picking books, I don't usually pick nonfiction books to read. Like most 99% of the time, I'm going to pick a fiction book to read to the kids for bedtime or something. Which is so funny because I love nonfiction. So maybe I do this because like the majority of our kids are still so little, and I just think in my head like, oh, they're going to want to read the fiction fun books and not the nonfiction books. So I don't know, because we get Ranger Rick magazines in the mail and we love them and all of our kids love them. So although I will say I think our little guy only likes them because there's like these little QR codes that you can scan and it shows you like an animal video. Anyway, the nonfiction book thing, it's my fault that our kids don't like it, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so we have one nonfiction bookshelf, and think the size of like a cubby, like a 14 by 14 inch square shelf. Then we have another cubby for our fiction books, and all those fiction books are rotated using our rotation quote unquote system, which I'm going to tell you about. You might choose like a bookshelf of sorts, or you might have a little bin or a basket you are using. You can use whatever you have. You don't have to go buy new stuff or like brand new cabinet or anything like that. So if you have one of those bookshelves though, like even if you have like one of those bookshelves that allow for, this is great, I always wanted one of those bookshelves that allow for like the books to face forward. These are so awesome for little kids. These are really ideal bookshelves. We just have never had the space in our living area for this kind of bookshelf, and that's okay. You just got to work with what you have, but put those forward, and like plus those forward facing shelves, they're like kind of expensive. They're pretty pricey, but long story short, again, you need a space for extra books and a space for current books. And you should not need to go buy anything new here. Work with whatever you have. You're just going to have to work on some rearranging. Now, how to rotate your books. So if you are trying to arrange your books currently, or like right after you listen to this podcast episode, I would recommend trying to find high up surfaces where your kids cannot reach, to be able to spread the books all out and like stack them up into groupings. So, and like somewhere where your kids are not going to like knock them over, or where you can at least like yell at them and be like, you're not touching the table right now, I'm working here, right? So think like kitchen table, counters, beds. Like I have used my bed before. So what you're going to want to do is like bring all of your books to this one location, and then you're going to get to sorting, right? Now, how we kind of store our books in themes. So here's how we rotate our books. I like and prefer seasonal themes. I think I like this because it feels very natural, like to our rhythms of the year and like of what we talk about and do with our kids anyway. Like it would be weird to me to read the book like The Snowy Day in the middle of summer. So we sort of separate them into not just seasonal, but kind of like themes that relate to the seasons of real life, right? So obviously you can get like favorite books out now and again from your extra storage to read if like a kid's asking for a specific book, right? But generally I encourage our kids to pick a new favorite book that's already out on our shelves. I used to theme our books by week when I was a teacher, but I don't like to work as hard for rotating books at home. So we go like a month or two before we swap them out. So this gives us time, I think, as a family to like read each book several times, take days where we don't read a book off the shelf or use a library book or have the kids read a book, etc. So here are the themes that we separate our books by at home and rotate out accordingly. So I'm going to use the word, like I'm going to add the word ish because this isn't like an exact science. I really hate the word system because it just really sounds so rigid. So I just swap these guys out like around these months, and sometimes I'm a few weeks late to the party, and that is all fine and dandy. So here are just like an idea of how we separate each group of books, and I'm going to put the months with the themes, but it doesn't have to be like if you start the school year and you're like already it's in October and you want to just start getting like back to school books out, that's fine. Like, don't worry about it. You still have your summer books out on your shelf, totally fine. Like, we're going to swap it over at some point. It's going to be fine. You don't have to be so rigid and hard on yourself. Okay. So, we've got September and October. I usually theme it like back to school and Halloween-y vibes. Like, anything that fits in here would be things that involve school and Halloween, obviously, but like also things like shapes, colors, letters, books about reading books, like things like this for back to school. And like books about Halloween could also just be books about spiders or bats, things like that. So monsters, you get the vibe. So get a little creative with your book sorting now. And then like, I want you to think now. I'm not going to talk about like how to get creative in each of these month themes so that I don't waste your time, right? But I want you to think creatively when you're listening through the rest of these themes, or when you're going on to the show notes post or whatever and you're referencing these themes when you want to organize your own books. Just kind of think creatively about like what you could put in each of those areas. So yeah. Okay, you get the vibe. Like, get a little creative, Monsters, Halloween, right? It makes sense, right? But the monster books aren't necessarily Halloween specific, right? But it's okay because they're a monster. So anyway, September and October are back to school and Halloween. November, I do like fall, autumn, Thanksgiving, and then I also put like hibernation, migration books here. December, I get Christmas books, of course, and I like to include like any baking, cookie kind of foodie type of books here, just because we have a bunch of Christmas books, but you can't fill a whole shelf with all Christmas books. I guess we're probably getting close, but anyway, January I do like winter, snow, and nighttime books, like bedtime kind of books. February and March I do Valentine's Day and art, color, creativity themed books. April and May, I do spring, weather, and birds. June, I do garden and fairy tales. July, I do summer, water, insects. And August, we do flowers, vegetables, foods, and like a garden harvesty type of books. I sprinkle in then like the rest of our books because all of your books are not going to fit into those themes. And we have certainly just like favorite books that are awesome books that just aren't like themed to each of the seasons, which is totally fine, right? And so I usually just like sprinkle. Sometimes I keep these books separate in our, I do keep these books separate in our extra storage space, and then I'll just pull out like a handful of them because I would consider those like a lot of these books that I'm talking about are like our Mo Willems books, our Jan Thomas books, and our John Klassen books. Like we love all those author illustrators. Mac Barnett. I'm sorry, Mac Barnett. I almost didn't include you with John Klassen. Don't hate each other because of it. Okay. But if you don't know any of those people, those authors and illustrators, like that's totally fine. But those are some of our favorites, and a lot of those don't fit our. Sorry, that was a really loud car going by. I hope you didn't hear that. Okay. We include those books that are our favorites just in a general location or extra storage, and I'll just pull out like a handful of those unthemed books during each month, and especially during the themes that have like less books to them, right? And I don't have themes like animals or dinosaurs or things like that, because you can read books about animals or dinosaurs whenever at home. So like at school, we used to have those types of themes, and for like the whole week we'd read about dinosaurs, or like for the whole week we'd read about zoo animals or something like that. But at home, I feel like we just kind of theme it with the ebb and flow and the seasons of life, and then we sprinkle in these other themes, dinosaurs, animals, whatever, as extra books wherever we have like a lack or less books in a single theme. So that's kind of how we do it. And then like I'm just going to explain a couple of them. Like the reason I have birds is not an extra theme, but the reason I have birds in April and May is because where we're located in the world, in Wisconsin, is in the United States, is like a springtime in April and May, and this is also when like a ton of new birds begin to happen by, right? And so we put birds during that month. And then the reason I have art in February is because this tends to be a very cold winter month for us, and we do a lot of art indoors. And fairy tales, actually, honestly, this one actually is just because in June. These could be sprinkled out through the rest of the year for sure. That's the only one that I'm realizing totally is unrelated to that season of life. But maybe it's just because I like think of fairy gardens and like whimsy when I think of gardening. So maybe that's why I tend to like lump fairy tales in here. I don't know. Anyway, fairy tales could be anywhere throughout, like all the other ones. Okay. Then let's move on to how we store the extra books. So I don't do anything other than place the stack of books from each theme all together, and not all like willy-nilly. So they just go in our extra, like I stack them all up per theme, and then I just put them in our extra storage space like next to each other. That's all. It's super unfancy, right? So like put them on a bookshelf next to each other. Woohoo. Holiday books though, like I was going to tell you before, I do these different, and I do actually keep our holiday books inside of our holiday bins that are in our attic spaces. I don't know if I'll do this for forever. I already don't like it. This works super great for us with Christmas because we actually decorate for Christmas. But sometimes I'm literally just going in the attic for like the other holidays, like I said, for Halloween and stuff. Like I don't decorate for Halloween really. I know some people totally do. So this would definitely work for you if you decorate for these different holidays. I don't even decorate for Thanksgiving or like fall or anything. I literally just like Christmas so much. So I basically, as soon as Halloween is over, Christmas stuff is going up. Anyway, yeah, so it works really good for Christmas because I'm going and getting all those bins out and I'm doing all that decorating, but it does not work for me for the other holidays right now. It sort of does. Like I do at some point have to go into the Halloween bin to get like our Halloween buckets out, or the Easter bin to get our Easter baskets out and stuff like that. But I feel like I don't pull those out until almost right before the holiday, and it's just not enough time with the books. So I end up having to go up and get the books out before I get all the other stuff out that I'm going to get for those holidays. Anyway, so I'm claiming my own mistakes here, but it would work for you if you were a decorator. So that's that. Okay. I will post pictures of all of our favorite books then, and I will link to them in the show notes post. But I'm going to give you a few titles and groups of books for the September, October, November themes now. I'm going to stop before I get to Thanksgiving, so I'll give you some of our favorite books for back to school themes, autumn themes, hibernation, migration, and Halloween. But I'm not going to do Thanksgiving. I feel like that we're getting too close into the holidays, then I don't want to like overwhelm you with a major list of books. I already have like a bajillion books listed for you. So, okay. So our favorite back to school books, we have Mac Barnett and John Klassen's Shape Trilogy books. So we love these books, are some of our absolute favorites. These ones are like the triangle, square, and circle books. We like triangle, and I think I remember reading, because John Klassen and Mac Barnett have a Substack together, and I think it's called Looking at Picture Books. Yes it is. And I'm remembering, I could totally be wrong, maybe it's on their about page and not a post. I'm pretty sure that Triangle is John Klassen's favorite book, and it's like the only book that didn't win an award. Which we also really love that book. We like all of them though. I don't know if we could claim a favorite of that trilogy. I don't know if you would even call it a trilogy. Anyway, whatever. Mouse Mess is another great one. It's like, I used to read this one in the classroom when I was a 4K teacher because I feel like it was like a nice intro to like talking about leaving a mess everywhere. And it is like good for just back to school, generally speaking, because I feel like the kids kind of like come back into the house and just like leave all their stuff everywhere, and they're so done with the day, even though because they had school all day, and it's good to talk about leaving messes at school and whatever. So it's really for little kids though. It's fun illustrations and great for littles. It's called Mouse Mess, and it's by Lene Riley. Again, I'm going to post pictures of all these. Jan Thomas is an awesome author, illustrator, and we love her books. Two of our favorites are Rhyming Dust Bunnies and My Friends Make Me Happy, and those are good for like back to school vibes with like rhyming and initial sounds and stuff. Richard Byrne has 3 books that are very funny and are about some and those are like, they're kind of like back to school vibes. They're about books. They're books about books. So one is called We Are in a Book. One is called This Book Just Ate My Dog. And the other one is called This Book is Out of Control. I got a couple Mo Willems books coming up at you. We love the Knuffle Bunny books and the Knuffle Bunny 2 books. The Knuffle Bunny doesn't really have any back to school references, but the Knuffle Bunny 2 is like about going to school with a friend and stuff. So we put those ones on the shelf for back to school. Another Mo Willems book duo is The Pigeon. He has 2 pigeon books. The Pigeon Has to Go to School, and of course the most popular, like, Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. Those are two back to school favorites, right? And obviously there's like a bajillion other pigeon books. I have no idea how many of them there are, but they're all wonderful and they're so fun. Okay, another Mo Willems, can we clearly see that we love Mo Willems duo for back to school is 2 of his Elephant and Piggy books. I like to put out My Friend is Sad and We Are in a Book. Those are 2 like fun back to school Elephant and Piggy books. Okay. Again, there's like a billion other Elephant and Piggy books that are also fun, but those are kind of 2 school themey related. Our favorite autumn themed books are Leaf Man by Lois Ehlert. I love Lois Ehlert and her illustrations. They are wonderful. Tap the Magic Tree by Christy Matheson. I also love her books. They're all very interactive. Like, she literally has like they're not great for like read aloud books, but I've made them work in the classroom. But for like a family reading, they're perfect because it says like for each of the kids to like press the cloud or like clap 3 times or something like that. So they're very interactive. But yeah, Tap the Magic Tree is a good one. It's very it's about all the seasons. So I put it in the autumn themed just because I feel like it's like in autumn it's like very evident that the trees are changing, right? Like all of the leaves are falling off and stuff like that. So anyway, the Apple Pie Tree by Zoe Hall. I don't have anything like super special to say about this book, but it's a good fall theme. Leaves by David Ezra Stein, about a little bear being confused about why all the leaves are falling off the trees. And then I like to keep out Look What I Did with a Leaf by I'm going to butcher the name, Morteza E. Sohi, maybe is how you pronounce it. Just for inspiration. It's not really a read aloud book, but it is good for like inspiration for kids if they want to like create pictures with leaves. So it's just a bunch of different like a fish made out of fall leaves and just different pictures made out of fall leaves. So this would be a great one for little kitties who love art. Okay, favorite hibernation and migration books for later in the fall, but I'm going to share them now. I don't put these out right now, but I put them out in November. The Little Mouse, The Red Ripe Strawberry, and the Big Hungry Bear by Donna and Audrey Wood. Now, this one you could put out in August, like the August garden harvest theme too. But sometimes I just like to talk about how bears are super hungry before they hibernate and stuff. But yeah, I kind of tend to put like all of our bear, like even like Brown Bear, I put all the bear books out during this like hibernation migration theme. Time to Sleep by Denise Fleming. This one is a great one for talking about different animals that hibernate, not just bears, right? So yeah, this one lists like a ton of different animals that hibernate. And actually, you know what, I'm going to skip ahead. Hibernation Station by Michelle Meadows is also another one that lists like a ton of different animals that hibernate in the book. And they're all like on a little log train and whatever. Okay, that one's a cute one. Bear Snores On. This one's a favorite for sure. It's not really like educational or anything, but it's just a cute fiction book by Karma Wilson and Jane Chapman about a bear hibernating in the winter. And George Flies South is a good migration book. We also have like nonfiction migration books and stuff like that, but I don't know. Actually, I don't have too many like favorite. I've read other fiction migration books and we have some of them, but I wouldn't call them favorites. So if you have a great migration fiction book that you really like, you should let me know, because that is one area where I feel like I'm slacking. I mean, I am slacking. I'm lacking. I'm lacking on books for that area. Okay, favorite Halloween books. Our all-time favorite Halloween book is The Little Old Lady Who Is Not Afraid of Anything by Linda Williams. I love it so much. Such a fun interactive book. Highly recommend it. It's like an oldie book, but it's so good. Okay, another fun monster theme book. So again, not super Halloween related, but it's along the Halloween theme because it's about monsters. This one's called Monsters Go Night Night, and it's very funny. You could also toss this over in like the nighttime theme for January, but yeah, whichever. Okay, we love also the monster at the end of this book for another monster themed book. And Go Away Big Green Monster by Ed Emberley is a great monster book. We love that one, especially for little kids really like this one. And obviously a classic monster book is Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak. It's one of our favorites. It's one of my favorites actually. So our kids like it too, but it's one of my favorites. Okay, and last but not least, James Dean comes in with his popular Halloween rhyme in his Pete the Cat book, 5 Little Pumpkins. So that's another Halloween fall themed one. So yeah, I guess I would say that's Halloween. It's certainly a Halloween theme. Okay, so that is it then for this episode. I feel like that was actually like way more jam-packed than I expected it to be. I do love children's books, so this was like unsurprising that I kept talking about them. Okay, I'll be back next week with an All Right Welp episode on Wednesday and a video for paid supporters over on Substack on Friday next week. This month, I'm showing you inside our snack cabinet. Dun, dun, dun. I don't know why I just did that. Okay, I'm weird. A little weird is good, right? Yes? Okay. I'm gonna go now before this gets any more awkward. Talk next time. Tash.